You know, I've never really been that great at word scrambles. You know, you have a group of letters and you're supposed to rearrange them into a word. But maybe I've gotten a little better after the game that we're about to review. As you might expect, it's a word scramble puzzle game. So, let's get to it. From 10 Ton Games, here is my review of the PS Vita and PlayStation TV version of Spellspire. Spellspire is, well, a puzzle game where you use word scrambles. You arrange letters into words to fire off spells and defeat enemies in each stage as you climb up this 100-floor tower. It's basically a puzzle game, a word scramble game if that's even a genre, but the combat actually looks more like an RPG with you playing as a wizard firing off spells to defeat undead enemies. Now your goal in the game is to conquer 100 floors. Each floor has a stage that pits you against undead monsters, and has a system sort of like the ATB active time battle system that Final Fantasy used. When you start a stage, you start walking over to the first group of enemies, and you've got this little red timer. As soon as that timer gets to 0, the enemy in front of you is going to attack you. Before that does, you need to look at the letters you've got in the bottom right corner of your screen, arrange them into words, and fire off spells to defeat them before they have a chance to defeat you. Now you're going to have a lot of different combinations here. Every stage has many different enemies in it, so your little collection of 10 letters needs to be rearranged into several different words across the stage to be able to actually complete it. But if you can rearrange words and actually complete the stage, you'll be rewarded with money. Then once you complete a stage, you go between stages. You can either go on to the next stage immediately, or you can go to the shop. The shop is used to spend gold on upgrading your current equipment, selling any inventory items that you find that you don't need, and buying new equipment. As a mage, you are always equipped with a staff or a wand, a hat, and a robe. You can use gold to upgrade all these items, but eventually you're going to have to get new equipment. Then you basically start the process over. Buy a new wand, upgrade it. Buy a new robe, upgrade it. Buy a new hat, upgrade it, to constantly increase the damage you do and the amount of HP you have. But that also brings us to difficulty. The game is set up so that even if you take your base weapon, your base robe, and your base hat, completely max them out with upgrades, you cannot beat the game with it. You can't even beat the first 7 stages with that. The game's progression is built so that at some point, you will get to a fight that is literally unwinnable with your current equipment. Meaning you have to go back to the shop, you have to buy new equipment. The only problem is unlocking new equipment. Not only is new equipment expensive, but you have to have gold stars to unlock it. You don't get gold stars by playing stages. You get gold stars by repeating past stages and doing well to earn those gold stars. But even then, when you unlock the equipment, you won't have enough money for it. Progression basically goes: play 3, 4, 5, 6 stages. Go back, replay stages 1 through 6 to get gold stars. Replay stages 1 through 6 2 or 3 more times so you have enough money to be able to not only buy your new equipment and upgrade it. More than likely, you'd be replaying those stages 3 or 4 times for each piece of new equipment that you want and you need. Then when you play 5 or 6 more stages, it happens again. This amount of repetition is my main problem with the game. Okay, going through 100 stages, no problem. Going through 5 stages and then having to repeat those 5 stages 4 or 5 times before I can even go on to stage 6, that is very repetitive, and it gets dull. It does affect the overall playtime though. There are 100 stages in the game. Each stage takes about 1 or 2 minutes to complete, give or take. If you didn't have to do any replays, the game would only take a couple hours. But due to the excessive amount of repetition built into the game, more like 5 to 10 hours, at least. A good amount of time for how much money you're spending, but still, the reason for that much time isn't that great. Only one thing I'll say about controls, especially for you PlayStation TV owners. Spellspire is touch screen only, but Spellspire is also compatible with the PlayStation TV. You're gonna need to use the alternative touch controls with this game, as you can see here with me activating and toggling the touch controls. Hold down the home button, go to the touch pointer, turn it on. If you're using a DualShock 3 controller, you're gonna have to click the L3 or R3 button to actually get your touch pointer on the screen. If you're using a DualShock 4 controller, just use your touchpad. As far as presentation goes, no real complaints. Artwork and everything looks nice. There aren't any performance issues. Load times are short, frame rate never drops, game never freezes. You get the idea. It's optimized really well. In conclusion, Spellspire is a neat little puzzle game for fans of word scrambles. Now, the lack of button controls and the forced repetition with replaying stages really does bring down the experience. But still, it's a nice puzzler that I've not seen anything like on the Vita or the PlayStation TV. Reviews to Go rates Spellspire an 8 out of 10. If you'd like to comment on this further, feel free to below, or head to the website at www.reviewstogo.com